Today's ride on the MT09 is just a little bit different. I had a nostalgic bug in me. I wanted to go back to my old neighborhood where I lived when I was working in New York City. I lived in Jersey City between the squares, and I wanted to go back to that area. I haven't done it in many, many years, probably in 20 years. And I thought along the way, a lot of people, and I'm just using Dallas as an example, this area of the country where we lived is called the Meadowlands, and this is a big part of it. What is between New York City, which you can see in the background, and what is where we live by Giant Stadium and by American Dream. A lot of it is just this thing they call the Meadowlands. And I wanted to just go explore a little bit, and the MT09 is a great bike for doing that. So today should be a very unique day. We checked the weather. I got up early, checked the weather. Supposed to go to 40 degrees by lunchtime, but there's a distinct chance of rain, 20% chance of rain, and I noticed the sun hasn't come out yet. But this time of year, and this is the point I wanted to make, I have work to do on the MT09. I have those little fairing covers I want to make some more detail changes. I ordered the bolts. I want to change the bolts. But anytime it's even remotely possible to get a ride, I want to ride, because very soon we're going to have less and less and less days, and then we'll get the snow and the salt. So I'm really trying to maximize the days before our season ends. Now what I've fallen into, a trap I've fallen into in the past, is I'd have a day like today, and I do have Dale's parts to paint, his headlight, and I have the parts I want to make, some more covers for this little windshield mount. But I'd waste a riding day, and I'd say, oh, I'll ride tomorrow, and then tomorrow it would snow or rain or whatever. So getting the most amount of riding, not everybody enjoys that. Some people enjoy riding once a year. You save a lot of money on tires that way. But my goal, I have a clear goal and a clear thing I want to do. I want to ride as many days as I can. Now Karen is busy trying to set the world's record for making as many cookies as possible over the holiday season. In our family, we always enjoy the holiday season. It's just, I don't know how to explain it. We celebrate the Jewish holidays, we celebrate the Christian holidays, we celebrate all the holidays. The more holidays, the more cookies there are. Celebrate them all. So anyway, that's my point is, I can even smell the cookies as I'm out here in the garage getting the bike ready. I know she's already started baking. Now as I'm prepping up the bike, I'm thinking how lucky I am that the minimum amount of schmutz is on the road now, but as soon as they salt those roads, as soon as we get one little snowflake and they salt those roads, then every day the cleanup becomes such a different issue. And I do like, of course, I just do like to keep the bike as clean as possible, but sometimes that's not really clean in the middle of the winter. And the last little part of this, I wanted to make a little cover that faces up, carbon fiber, so you don't look down in there and see the bolts and stuff. But a little minor thing, only I would think of that. And the laid back windshield that's actually almost touching here, that has worked out really, really well. And you can see the driveway is still wet. It means the roads are going to be wet. It's going to be a sloppy ride. Now, like I said, we didn't see the sun come out yet. That's pretty unusual. But it usually means it's going to rain or drizzle or something. So maybe we'll sit and have an extra cup of coffee before we head out. Hopefully the sun will come out. Makes the photography a lot better too. Okay, so while I'm out riding, this is what I got to think about. Not my traction control, not my ABS. Think about the cookies. Now I have to have my coffee without a cookie because they're still in the oven. What a tragedy. And how many thousand are you baking today? 12 trays?
I'm baking 6 trays.
I love the holiday season. No wonder Santa Claus comes to our house every year. And of course it's the holiday season, and we want to wish your family a very Merry Christmas from our family. And from Buddy, of course. We're going to see Buddy tonight, of course. So we ought to make a separate video of Karen's cookies on YouTube. Karen can cook. These are like MT09 cookies. You never get enough. All right. Put extra sprinkles on mine.
Plenty of sprinkles.
Oh, tell me that isn't delicious. Oh my God. No wonder I'm having a little bit of a chub issue over the winter here. So these ready for the free sample test? I don't know if we should have a free sample test.
Didn't you have
Let's
a free
see.
sample?
Oh my God, they are so good. Christmas all year long. An MT09 in everybody's stocking. Check out this old restored primary school. Look at the bell up top. Wow, that's pretty cool. Very, very cool. Always some interesting stuff along the ride. Now, I knew to ride to Jersey City on the back roads and then through Secaucus and coming back that way. I knew there'd be a lot of sloppy roads, a lot of potholes. And this was not a sport bike day. The roads were wet, you'll see. We hit a little bit of rain along the way. It just was a great choice to do this today. Now this is the second day I'm testing my swept-back windscreen, and so far so good. It was just as good as it gets today, keeping a couple of raindrops we had during the ride off. Nothing big, but it absolutely makes the bike more aerodynamic by being laid back like that. Now, the MT09 is surprisingly comfortable and surprisingly good to get on these slippery back roads full of wet leaves and full of stones. And we did a little bit of off-roading today by a road I'll describe later as my old drag strip. And the MT09 just comes through on so many levels. And you know, I'm always having fun with the quick shifter, but hey, this is a really unique back area of Secaucus that goes under the turnpike. I'm not sure you're even supposed to be back here, but I took this road to its very end where it turned into a dirt road and got a little sloppy. You can see the road is still soaking wet, leaves, and I know when I get home, I'm going to have a lot of fun cleaning up the bike. Now this is the original Devil's Tower. If you look up here, they cut this whole face of the mountain away, and at one point in time, George Venturini and I got all the rocks that are around my pond right from that mountain right there. Kind of a Devil's Tower-y thing. All the rocks from my pond, the mica schist especially, came right from that, whatever you want to call that, Devil's Tower. What a day, what a nostalgic day this has been. So a real quick story about Devil's Tower. You go past the prison to get there. You pass the prison. And as we were going by with truckloads of rocks and we were loading rocks, the prisoners were out in the back in a fenced-in area playing basketball. And George used to say to me, "What's wrong with this picture? We're working in the hot sun loading rocks, and the prisoners are playing basketball." And that is true. In a lot of ways, this is a very nostalgic area. There's a lot of waterfowl out in the meadowlands, and you can see the city out in the background, New York City. And these bridges, but the bridges that go around this area, now I know they're going to try to rebuild some of them, or maybe all of them, but when you stop to take a picture, it's scary how much these bridges move when a trailer truck goes by. It really gets your full undivided attention.
Good old New York City in the background.
Another thing too, there's trains and train bridges in this area, and I wanted to get up close and personal, try to get a couple of pictures of the Amtrak going by at full speed. But you know what? The roads were so rough, and there's so many trailer trucks going by. It was definitely dangerous taking these pictures.
And there's beautiful New York City in the background. Holy moly. And you can see the jet planes going into Newark Airport. Boy, this was some nostalgic ride. Wow. Not much has changed.
Taking this ride made me so aware of how lucky I am to have that riding area that's only 30 miles from my house, and where there's such a traffic almost non-existent. And then once I'm in this environment here, I can see why people have accidents with trucks and cars, and boy, I just can't believe people could enjoy riding in that environment.
A little bit different ride today. We're going down some city streets here that I haven't been down in a long time. And not much has changed. This is all part of the Meadowlands. People outside this area can't imagine how big that is.
Now on the way back, I went through an area that I had driven from many, many years, but I haven't been there in the last maybe 10 years. And I thought there's a chance now places like Hoboken up, they gentrify them, they clean them up or whatever. But you know, this part of where we live, it's a strictly an industrial area, and there's trucks going by all the time. Now, next time, and I know next time I get to ride up by the sport bike area, I will have a totally new level of appreciation of the joy of riding a road without another vehicle in your field of vision. It's something you don't think of until you take one of these rides into a highly populated area where the roads are not in great shape and there's trucks all over the place. Now, this is the industrial area of Secaucus, and they've built this up to the point where it's unbelievable how many factories and how many trailer trucks there are. But this used to be dirt roads years ago, a lot of the roads anyway, and they're all built up, totally factoried out. And I'm realistic to know that not many good weather days are left, but we try to squeeze out every one of them. And I think that windshield is just the slightest bit of help by making the bike a little more aerodynamic. Well, and it certainly doesn't hurt anything.
And when I first met Karen, we lived in Secaucus, and she lived in Harmon Cove, and I lived in Little Ferry. Brings back a lot of memories. This is all part of Secaucus here.
This is really the first day I used the MT-09 to just cruise around like this. I'm usually riding it up in a sport bike area on roads that have almost no traffic, and it's a whole different animal, but it handles these conditions well. I was very surprised how well it handled them. And some of the roads, you can see the road even in this picture, is wet and rough and bumpy and full of wet leaves. And here's one of the things I personally love about the MT09. I love that quiet exhaust system. It's geared to make a lot of low-end torque and not a lot of noise.
I'm up on this bridge, and this bridge is really bouncing around here. There's the old Pulaski Skyway in the background. It's an interesting day. I haven't been down in this area in a long time, and you know what? Not much has changed. I used to live in this area. Not much has changed.
I don't know what I was thinking because I hadn't been back in so long, and in my mind, I've been to Hoboken many times where it's all gentrified, and I thought maybe they gentrified this, they gentrified that, they clean it up, they do this, they do that, but you know what, in the end, I don't think they did much, to be honest. But it was very nostalgic going back to the old neighborhood. Now, one of the things I want to do is I had some of my childhood. I grew up in Brooklyn and Greenpoint, and I've heard they've gentrified that area pretty well. But I'm going to try to get back there, maybe sometime over the winter, and see what an old neighborhood looked like. Some of the areas between Jersey City and Secaucus, here's a train going overhead, in fact. You look how rough the road is here. This is not a day. This is a good choice for today. Not a day for a sport bike ride. And I had plenty of time, you don't see it on the video, I had plenty of time stuck behind trucks or in traffic to dream about the stuff I want to do to the MT09 over the winter. The videos we'll be sharing. I want to get those wheels bright silver, hand buffed. I want to get those side panels painted, the little eyebrows under the headlights painted. I'm super happy the way the windshield worked out. It's just one more little step for mankind. Now, one of my golden rules that I use up in a sport bike area, you can't use it here, there's too many cars. I never get on the gas and go through the gears if there's a car coming the other way. That for some reason, I don't know, and that has worked out well over the years for me. That's been a one of my golden rules. Now, to be honest, I'm used to riding where there's very, very low or almost no traffic. Here I was in, this is the exact opposite. I stopped on the top of this bridge to try to take some pictures of the Pulaski Skyway, and trucks were almost running me over. The bridge is like a diving board. You can feel it moving a couple inches up and down every time a truck goes by. And basically, I was just waiting for the sun to come out, but it never did. And by day's end, I was convinced even more than before the first part of the day that this is a great all-weather fighter bike, much like the Ninja 650R. It's a bike that does everything well. It's comfortable, it gets good mileage, it's reliable, it handles like a dream, and the MT09 has all these safety features, ABS, traction control, and I think we used them all today. So as I passed this iconic place called Rendy's Auto Body, they did the first paint job on one of my cars. I had an old Dodge, and they were $29.95, and I don't even think they washed the car. They just taped off the windows and painted it, and that inspired me to become a painter of my own.
Now, believe it or not, this is the only sun we've seen today. The sun is, haven't seen a lot of sun. Roads have been wet the whole day, and this is an old road. There was a time when I was into drag racing. This road was where to go to drag race. Now check this out. Here's where we're trying to take a couple of pictures, but look at what happened. The road ends now. They took my drag strip away. Oh man, when you go back to the old neighborhood, you never know what you're going to find. Most of the time, it's just like you left it. It doesn't get any better.
Now on the way back, I was just reliving some of the childhood memories. I shouldn't say childhood, I was probably 30 years old. But some of the memories I have of this area and riding RDs, and I had a Suzuki dirt bike. You could ride this area. And of course, there was no such thing as radar. You never even had to have a radar detector. But it's time to turn around and head back to what used to be the farm. I don't know what it is now.
So the day played out actually to be quite a little adventure. Sun never came out, roads never dried up, had a couple of drops of rain along the way, but we got to see some of the old neighborhood. And I really wanted to thank John Parthia for his help with getting this electric jacket with these upgraded batteries. I made that video, I posted it out there already. Boy, is that an upgrade over that battery that comes with the jacket. And when I lived in Jersey City, I lived between the squares. It was not a really nice area. It didn't get any better either. They didn't gentrify it like they did in Hoboken. But it was just a little something different today, and something I enjoyed to ride. And I knew, I just had a sixth sense that it was not going to turn into a bright sunny day, and it was cold all day.
And the only downside of this day is when you're riding around on crappy wet roads and stuff like that, there's a cleanup price to be paid at the end, and we're going to pay it too. There's just some things in it. The old place where we used to drag race, and they never bothered you down there. Now it's a truck depot, and oh my God, there's potholes you could lose a Volkswagen in. It's always amazing how a neighborhood it's hard to predict. Karen and I went out to Long Island to see her old neighborhood. The house is like it the day she left. Manicured, everything's perfect. Go to Secaucus, it's still an industrial town, and we lived in Harmon Cove, and yeah, that's a little nicer, but basically the town is an industrial town. And then you go down by Pulaski Skyway there, and I try to take some pictures, and a bridge is doing this. Scary stuff. Scary stuff. But overall, it was quite a cool day. So in the evening, we went over to see our grandson and buddy, and of course, the normal chaos ensued. He is so much fun.
If you break your camera, that's not my fault.
I'm not breaking my camera. Give me that. Give me that. You're such a mean dog. That's my underwear you got.
That's not your underwear?
That's my underwear.
Is that really your underwear?
No. You're a mean dog. Come on. How can you be such a mean dog? Ah, there goes my underwear.
I swear, just
Get him. Get him, buddy. Get him. Get him. Get him. Get him, buddy. Get him. Get him. Buddy. Get him. Get him.
And that's Jessica and the Jopies over there.
Buddy. Buddy. Oh, you could live without me? I thought you were a good dog today. Get him! Get him! Get him! Come on, you can do it! Come on, get him! You can do it!
So we had a ride, and unlike the rides we normally have up in our beautiful sport bike riding area, and I'm so glad I have that sport bike riding area. I'm not sure these trips around the industrial areas of Secaucus and Jersey City, Route 7, and traffic. I don't know how people can enjoy riding in that traffic. But it just makes me appreciate the little area that I ride, and it's so worth getting up there. Now I appreciate even more how much nicer that area is. So anyway, we do try to post up a video every day if you're new to the channel. And we're going to be starting to do our work on motorcycles in the shop very soon. So if you enjoyed the video, I hope you share it with your friends. And of course, I hope, most of all, that we'll see you tomorrow. And thanks again for watching.